Hey, welcome back to Street Rods Plus. You remember the last time we were talking, we were working on our Jeep project. Well, we did get it dried in because it did rain. That rain did stay for several days. That rain unfortunately turned into snow. We had several inches of snow, and unfortunately we didn't get to finish the project. So we've got a nice day today. The sun's out. It's about 63 degrees here in this southern Ohio town. What I'd like to do is show you where we're at with the Jeep project, and also I want to show you a couple other projects we picked up while we were waiting for the weather to break. Just so happens I went to an auction last week, and if you're like me, it was just one of those deals I couldn't refuse. So stick around, let's take a walk, let me show you what we got. My latest venture, as my little brother would call it, a new dependent. Well, I was at this car auction. Didn't really need to go to it, but quite frankly, I just like the adrenaline and the excitement of the auction. This is a 93 GT Ford Probe. Very nice 16-inch factory race wheels with R50 for performance. Now the one thing I liked about this, I'm just going to get a little closer look here. A little closer look to the inside. And you'll see that we need a little bit of radio work here. The console's been ripped out, and I'm going to guess that somebody had a custom radio in there. But the cool thing about this project was the radio and everything was in the back seat. So a lot of the pieces and parts needed for this was right there in the back seat, and I was pretty happy to see that. Now, one of the obvious changes in this car is the color scheme. You can see the car's been painted. That's okay, I'm not too worried about the paint because a little bit of touch-up and we'll be able to match that paint on the body lines on the inside so it's comparable to what we've got on the outside. You'll notice they did a pretty good job painting the car. It's a real sleek powder blue. Now, as I did my evaluation around the auction, remember, you don't always get an opportunity to buy these cars running. In this particular case, right on the windshield, they mark them does not run. So in this case, I knew that the car didn't run. I was primarily looking for body parts. As I looked around the body, I noticed that there was a pretty severe damage hit right here. Pretty serious damage hit right here. The whole head cowl cover, fender's dented right along the edge there. Take a little bit of body work to get this straightened out. As I looked around the car, came to this side, and noticed that it didn't have a custom wheel on it. That told me that there's a possibility I'm going to have to get a wheel, or maybe it's in the trunk. The window was busted out. Here's another obvious repair that I had to do to the car. And other than that, the car was pretty solid. Now, we haven't started the car yet. Hasn't even begun to run. But let me show you what else we found while we were there. A 93 Probe SE. Needs a little bit of work. As I did my visual inspection at the auction around the car, not only did I notice the things that we talked about, but I also saw this bit of rust here. Just surface rust, bubbled up. I get some paint, we'll get that right back in shape. Noticed also down on the bottom, as part of the repairs, got a little bit of a rip in the material that's holding it. Looks like to me that maybe it's some, I can't really say what caused it, but we're going to have to repair that. Well, here you can see the front wheel that we had to get at the junkyard. The local salvage yard, even though it cost me $100, we still had to have one because if you remember, we had a little donut gasket on there. So what it did is I went ahead and spent the extra cabbage, bought the wheel, stock for the car, battery, and then I was lucky enough to find a couple decent, very decent R50 tires. Well, it looks like quite a bit of tread left. If you look inside, if it covers the head of a penny, then you know that your tread life is still good. Didn't see any physical damage anywhere. $50. Now I'm a couple $100 into this project, and it looks like I'm going to have everything I need to put it back together. While I was at the salvage yard, I was able to find the whole light mechanism. That was pretty exciting to me. Cost me another 25 bucks. So with that and the rest of the wheel and the tire, we'll have this car back together and still be under our budget. Well, remember, we bought this car in the auction, didn't have a wheel on it. So what we're going to do today, unfortunately it's about to rain on us, so we're going to move this project into the garage. We're basically going to take this tire that we've got over here. You'll see this 50 Series R 16. We've got our wheel that we keep in the garage. We're going to get out of the rain here and see if we can't put that on. I'm going to show you something unique about this tire and wheel that you'll have to be conscientious of. If you remember, when we went to the salvage yard, we picked up our wheel. The unique thing about this wheel is the way that the circular motion cut here versus the way this is tapered forces this to be a specific wheel for this car. So I had to pay 100 bucks for it. Luckily though, I was able to find these tires, these R50, or rather these 50R Series 16s. But what's unique about this is we're going to have to put this wheel on a very, very specific way. And I don't know if you can get a good shot of this, but if you take a close look at how this wheel specifically says rotation. Here's the front of the wheel. Well, we had to move our tire project for the probe inside. I heard someone say once before that if you don't like the weather in Ohio, stick around, it'll change. Well, the nice day we were having just an hour ago changed into a Now comes the tough part. What we've got to do is get this wheel down inside of this tire so that we can begin to pry it up around the sides. Use this tire bar, come up around, helps quite a bit in getting the wheel on.